everyone, and welcome to Club 2, Episode 1 of Relegation Rescue at Sparta Rotterdam. So we find ourselves at Sparta Rotterdam. This is the competition that we went to, the Eredivisie. This was voted for on Twitter and under my videos on YouTube in the comment sections in a couple of different spots. And this is what you decided that we should go for next. So we're in Holland. And Sparta Rotterdam, you can see directly bottom of the table, 18th position. We are on the 25th of December, Christmas Day, as is always, of 2020. And boy, is this going to be really, really hard. If you thought Augsburg was going to be difficult to get out of, then this is going to be really hard. We are currently 10 points behind safety. And the squad is not particularly good, I must say. This is going to be such a challenge. We will check out the squad in a little while. But when you think about that, we've got the likes of Ajax, PSV, Feyenoord, and the likes in this division. When you check out this squad, those are the types of players they're coming up against. At the moment, it's no wonder they're sitting bottom. But we're going to give it a good go. We're going to probably have to work a little bit more on the collective rather than on the individuals. We're going to find a way to create a team shape that's going to make it harder to play against, I hope. So that will be one of the real challenges for us. We're going to have to look in on the loans, I would imagine, rather than transfers. You can see financially, they're not in a bad shape. 5 million in the bank, 5.5 million in the bank, a couple of million still to spend in the transfer budget, but not too much in wage budget. So we'll probably have to rejig that slightly and go more wages and look for loan players, I would imagine. But we'll have to see. What else can we gain from this home page? Well, we've seen that we're bottom of the table. We've seen that we've got a bit of a gap. We've seen the finances are reasonable. In terms of the player stats, I like the player stats in the sense that it's not one person ruling it all. It's got a couple of different names on there. So there's a couple of different players that are contributing something, which is really positive. You can see in terms of team stats that we are conceding pretty much the most and scoring pretty much the fewest, which is a problem. And the other thing you can see is that we've got a friendly match coming up in 15 days from now, because we're just about to go into the winter break. And so that's a positive as well, in the sense of we've got one friendly to play. We've got time to reassess this squad and look at what we can do with it in the January transfer window before we then come and play our first competitive game. And our first competitive game is on the 24th of January. So there's still a little bit of time, about a month. But it's against Feyenoord, one of the really big sides in the division. It's not going to be an easy start by any stretch of the imagination. So that's the general setup of Sparta Rotterdam. Let's go and have a look at the squad that we've got. All I've done, if we go into the inbox, first, all I've done is put the manager in. I haven't gone through any meetings. I haven't clicked a continue button. Haven't done any of that. But I have looked a little bit around the squads. If we go into the under-19s, you can see they're sitting 8th in their division at the moment. And there looks to be some potential here until you go in and have a look. And so, for example, this is the guy that's the best player they've got, Corte, at the moment. And you go in and have a look at 17. He's got a reasonable future ahead of him, you would imagine, but he's not going to be any good for us at this moment. He's got none of the attributes that you would need to really put him into the first team at this precise second. But there's someone for the future. It's just not for us now, unfortunately. And that's the best of the bunch in the under-19s. In terms of the B team, it's quite a similar position, really. You've got a couple of guys on 2.5-star ratings currently. So if we go and have a look at some of them, let's go and have a look at this guy, Minans. And he's a 20-year-old central midfielder. And he's not too bad. He might find his way into our first team squad, possibly. Until you then look at the fact that he's got 6 in determination for a start. Hardly any concentration. No real stamina about him, and you see that there are real gaps in his attributes. So it is possible he could come and do something for us. He's got some good average attributes in bits. But again, it's not anything really to write home about. So if we actually go into the squad that we've got, this is the first team squad as it currently stands. It's reasonably big. there's a few people to potentially move out from it and potentially bring in some money. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to have a proper look. I'll have to have a look over the next couple of weeks of game time to figure this out. They've all got a decent potential because they're all being rated basically just against each other. And nobody else in that sense. And so again, you forget the potential and you look at the current ability ratings are the important things. And so let's go and have a look at the star of the show, Jurgen Matthew. And you can see that he's a central defender, 27 years old, worth £1.4 million. And he's reasonable, but there are some big gaps again. And this is the best player we've got at the club. Very good heading, very good determination, good aggression, anticipation, teamwork, jumping reach. No pace, average tackling, average marking. Off the ball isn't particularly good. Decisions are average, concentration is average, composure is average, physicals are not particularly great. So that's the style of player that we're working with here at Rotterdam. And you can see that we're going to be really up against it quite quickly. If we go and have a look at our number one goal scorer, it's this guy, Ragnar Ake. Oh, we're going to have to call him Thor Ragnarok, aren't we? I'll possibly figure that for the next episode, we'll see. But Ragnarok. Anyway, he's the number one goal scorer currently at the club. He's got 6 goals in 19 games, which is all right, isn't it? And he's got some things about him, but look at these mentals again. Off the ball's great, but the rest of his mentals are fairly average. Physicals are decent. Finishing, heading, decent. That's good. So there's something to work with there. And let's look at the creative influences. Assists. Who's got the most assists? There aren't many around, are there? It's this guy, and Bart Vrens. And he's a central defender, and he's got the most assists in this team. That doesn't say much for our creative influence in midfield, does it? But he's got a decent amount of marking, decent amount of leadership. Again, no pace at the back. That's going to be a problem. Average, the rest of it, really. Too much aggression for my liking in our central defenders as well. But yeah, it's going to be really, really tough. If you remember the 8-0 against that we got with Augsburg in the previous club in relegation rescue, where we thought we were going to walk it into the playoff places or something, we still didn't get them out of relegation in the end of it. It was a false dawn, that one. I think we'll probably get some 8-0s against us probably in this particular series, in this particular part of the series, but we will have to wait and see. So let's go and have a look at dynamics. You can see that there's a few unhappy players. There's some wanting new contracts and some wanting more starts. The hierarchy of the club, Matthew and Vrens are 2 central defenders. They are the 2 leaders of the team. So I guess they're going to be regular starters for us. The social group. Oh, let's go back to hierarchy. You can see this is how it all starts. I've come into the club and nobody gives 2 hoots about me at all. They've no real opinion of me yet. We'll see how that changes over the next couple of months. Social group, we've only got 1 guy that's out of the main social group. So that's not too bad. They're a fairly tight-knit group in that sense. Birens, our right-sided winger, isn't quite in that social group yet, 33 years old. He's got some stuff about him. A little bit more pace would be good, but, some crossing and dribbling. Good flair, good determination. So, he'll probably get some game time under us, I would imagine. Hopefully that will bring him into the main social group. Happiness, you can see that there's no real happiness particularly. I mean, they're happy in bits of it, but their overall happiness, slightly happy, content. Oh, there's some happy players. None that are very happy, though. That's a problem. So there's the issue. And the code of conduct and the team meeting will leave for another point. So there is a very, very brief look at some of the challenges we've got. If we go and have a look at the squad depth, you can see that we've got a couple of decent strikers in theory for the rest of the squad. We lack depth in midfield a little bit in the sense of both right and left don't look particularly strong, do they? But we've got some solid quality in midfield, I think, but it doesn't look to be much of the creative variety, does it, in terms of who's providing the assists. defensively, we look okay in terms of these star ratings anyway. You know, a couple of decent central defenders in Matthews and Vrens, and we've got a couple of options on the left and a couple of options on the right that look reasonable. We'll have to take a closer look at them. Goalkeeping doesn't look particularly strong either, does it? So what do we do with this setup? Let's go and have a look in the schedule and see where they've been going wrong over the last few months. And it's basically been everywhere. They've got one win. One win. Oh no, 2 wins. I missed one out. I missed the starting. They started the season very well, didn't they? 2 wins in all of these games. What's their most recent formation that they were using? Let's go and have a look. So they play a 4-2-3-1. We're probably going to have to change that. It looks to be a little bit too attacking for my liking, really, in this context. Let's go back a couple and look at the draw, the 1-1 draw. What were they playing there? They were still playing the 4-2-3-1. So it's what they played most of the season. I probably want 2 up front, I think, possibly. It's going to be really tough. Why have I done this to myself? Why are you watching this? It's just going to be pain and torture for me for the next few episodes. That's all it's going to be. Maybe that's what floats your boat. I don't know. But it's going to be really, really hard. What I would say is if you've got any experience of managing Sparta Rotterdam yourselves, then let me know about your experiences. Put them in the comments below. If you're a supporter of them, let me know who I should be looking out for. Who are the key players and what sort of things should I be looking out for? Any help I can get, I will happily take at this point because it's going to be really challenging. But yeah, Club Vision, let's go and have a look at that just before we finish this intro look at the club. I'm going to have to go away for the next couple of days in real terms and just figure out this setup before I come back on Saturday with the first game against Feyenoord. But what are they expecting of us? They're expecting us to work within the budget. They're expecting us to fight bravely against relegation. We can certainly give it a good go. 3rd round of the Cup. That could be challenging. I don't know where we are with that at the moment. Sign Dutch players, play entertaining football. That's going to be hard. That's going to be very hard. Sign players from the lower levels of the domestic game. Okay, fair enough. There's some interesting things in there, but it's basically work within a budget and give it a go, isn't it, really? And so far within budget, and they're not really giving it a go, but even if we can finish not bottom, I think I'd probably take that at this point. But it's going to be really hard. I hope you're going to enjoy this. It's going to be pain and torture for me and probably pleasurable for you to watch me go through it. I've got, as I say, a friendly game to come. We've got a month to figure out this setup before we actually have to play the first game against Feyenoord. That's going to be really, really hard. It's probably going to look slightly different by the time you come back. I'll have sorted out tactics and transfers and other bits and pieces by then. But I hope you'll enjoy it. I really do. I hope you'll continue to enjoy this relegation rescue. It's certainly going to be difficult, but yeah, let's give this a go. So thanks very much for joining me for this particular little snippet of a look at the club. If there's anything else you want to look at within the setup of the club next time, put it in the comments below and I'll see what I can do about showing you where this club is at. But until next time, thanks for joining me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Click the like button if you haven't. So important for the growth of my channel. But until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Oh no. Bye for now.